Surf's up, guys? It's Mauisnake here, and today we're going to be going over a player analysis for Niko. And Niko, he always delivers on these. His crosshair placement, perfect. His positioning, perfect. His decision-making, near perfect. It's crazy how just perfect, near perfect you get when you watch Niko. Pretty much the ideal rifler in almost every single circumstance. And we're going to see how he was able to win his opening match against Complexity. It was close on Complexity's pick of Vertigo 16-14, but we're going to be looking at Dust 2, which is one of G2's home maps, and how they were able to just stomp Complexity 16-6 off the back of a great Niko performance. If we look at Dust 2 here, we can see a 27 and 9 KD, plus 18 kill death, 100 ADR, 1.99 rating, and look at this CT side. 15 and 0. 15 and 0, 171 ADR, 100% KAST, 3.49 rating. Like, it's crazy how perfectly he plays it. Just insane stuff, and you'll see why Niko is pretty much the ideal rifler in Counter-Strike Global Offensive. So let's hop into this one. And just really quickly, I was thinking of going over the game he played against Big on Mirage, where he has an actually better rating, but we've been doing a lot of Mirage on this channel lately, so let's just get into it. We've got the pistol here. I've already watched the demo. I watched the Mirage game too, but I'm not going to do a demo review of that one. If you guys are interested, be sure to check that one out. It's an excellent performance. A lot of A lurking from him, but this game is going to be kind of some lurking, like a lot of lower plays, some cat takes, a little bit of long stuff here and there, but you get a good variety in this one. And we haven't done Dust 2 in a bit, and I mean, with a player like Niko, kind of why wouldn't you, you know? Like, this is the map that's supposed to be, you know, an aimer's paradise, and for a player like Niko, you know, not the craziest raw aim in terms of putting just crazy flicks out there, but just perfect crosshair placement a lot of the time. So this is going to be a long take. Niko is going to be scaling up with Jax really quickly, though, guys. They get flash, but look at how they're scaling on the left side. This is something to take with you into your Dust 2 games. I know you guys all play Dust 2, and I'm getting blinded by this a little bit, honestly, right now. But either way, scaling on the left side is very important because Poison's going to be swinging out here at the top. And if people are scaled out too far to the left, these are free kills for him. So just for you guys to know, this is why players in pro games hug the left side as they're coming up long on Dust 2. Jump up, flashes to support them. Niko is getting onto the site, gets the USP. Pretty much was the entry fragger in this round. So Niko, not just a baiter by any means, frequently takes opening duels for his team, even on kind of set pieces, because I mean, why wouldn't you, again, when you have a guy that's so clean at getting entries? But he's going to just hold from ramp. His team's kind of all congregated here, but Niko just puts things together, kind of slows down with his shots there, and he just swings to get Blame F to close it out. Great hold towards the ramp, and just really just good crosshair placement, good corrections there, understanding the recoil of his pistol, and good scaling. I think that's actually the biggest lesson there, is that he really got the way he got up long was important in that round, because he can't get into that position to play the post plant if he dies on the way up. Doesn't swing wide to try to go for that duel against Poison at the top. He knows that swinging to the left means that he can take that space. It's so important for him and his team for him to get out like that. So there's a pause in this game right now, a little bit of a technical one. So we'll be moving past that. But consistently, you will see Niko finds consistency because he has proper scaling. These are great support flashes to get his team out long. This won't team flash anybody if you do the jump throw right there. Those are flashes I've been pretty much throwing on this map for like 3 years now, and they still are probably some of the best flashes you can throw. Astralis, I think, threw them when they were on their incredibly consistent Dust 2 run. And really, there's no reason to innovate in that situation, because there's no way you can dodge that flash. Like, it's just nearly a perfect flash, and it doesn't blind your teammates. So good stuff. Once again, they will be scaling on the left side. This one's a little awkward because Niko has to throw some utility. You usually want to throw that before you get out, but looks like things got a little hectic there. And Niko, he gets one on config, but does get taken down. G2 still able to close it out. Once again, you know, Niko, he's not afraid of throwing his life on the line there, but he's still able to get one. So nice entry from him. And so Niko here, this is kind of like a weird round where it felt like he wanted to go B kind of quickly. I think he maybe he's just going for the noise fake. I think I have to assume that's what he's going for. He burns a lot of utility towards mid. Notice that he's taking this pretty lax, and he gets punished for it. Config's already up cat, and this is a rare moment where it looks like Niko kind of falters because he gets a little bit too lax with his approach. You know, it even happens to some of the best players. On gun rounds, you just don't see that happen. But on anti-ecos, you know, I think everybody gets a little bit wide-eyed for those, including Niko. So you see how it costs him there. So round 4 here, we're going to be seeing a mid to B. See, G2 is kind of showing all of their plays pretty early on in this one. Flash through the double doors to support him, and he will throw the smoke that lands on top of the double boxes there. I feel like if you guys are watching this and if you guys are hardcore fans, you would know what that smoke is for, but I'll explain it anyways briefly. It's just that if anybody jumps up on the self boost, they can't see over. Great double molly to make sure nobody pushes in, and because they have those smokes in those positions and the mollies behind him, usually you can't scale to door here because the smokes will have a gap, but because of all the molly smoke, all of the smokes themselves, he feels like it's kind of a safer option to go through the door. The config's able to recover, and they actually have a hard time trading him, but they still get into the bomb site in a 2v3 situation. And Complexity able to retake because they have numbers there. Config probably overperforming, but just a really solid mid to be from G2. It's just that Config just delivers from the car position. Just nice shots from him. Now round 5. We will see Niko kind of realizing that he has to be honest when it comes to Complexity, so he's going for this jump spot there. This allows to obviously see this little crack right here so that he can see if anybody is boosting into a lower peak. Knowing that Complexity at this point can afford an op, he knows that he should take as few risks as possible, but just swings out wide. He didn't even spot Blame F, but Niko, just perfect crosshair placement, is able to find it. Still goes for the jump spots, by the way. Still knows that he doesn't want to try to just take space for no reason and risk his life. And even then, just so consistent. Like, look at how he peeks every angle. He's not really, you know, letting anything up to chance. Nobody thinks they're just going to get headshotted immediately, even when they peek well. But Niko, I mean, he really just doesn't take those kinds of risks when it comes to his peeks. And they're going to throw a lot of nades towards mid. We're going to see that it's left and right side smokes. And what this does is it forces Config back to B. So you'll see that JKS are kind of pressured to play in this sort of position. And the A players, they may think that they have to lock themselves around these kind of positions. But Complexity actually goes for a heavy long hold early on in this round, which is wise because they know that they need to control something. If they kind of just let themselves get pushed back into a lot of different positions, that's not going to go well for them. So we see that, you know, they decided to just take their own initiative. And this is just a really good response from Complexity. So you have to commend them for it because it was a good plan from G2, but an even better response from Cole. So Niko just kind of hangs out here, hopes that he can catch a rotation. No one actually peeks him for this one because they know that they have bomb control. They don't need to give up any kind of free picks. They still have the bomb towards long. You can see it on your radar. And he sees JKS's foot right there. And Niko, I mean, his options right here are to just jump across long, in which case he will probably just run into the players that are over there, or he can go for this 1v1. So he decides to take a calculated risk. He sees an opportunity and almost hits the shot onto JKS. Like, if you actually look at the bullet there, it's right behind his head. Like, it's so close. So cool calculated risk from Niko. Doesn't quite work out, but either way, just a good overall round from Complexity. And Niko this time just has a deagle. Never really can count out Niko with a deagle. And if JKS threw that nade properly, you know, that could have done a lot of damage, but he barely nicked the side of the corner right there. And so Niko doesn't lose as much HP as he could have. Decides to scale on the railing. Just peeks things out with good crosshair placement. They make it up cat. You'll see that they just kind of scale at this point. And this is where Niko shines as an entry. Look at his crosshair placement in all these fights. Perfect. Literally just perfect. Every time he swings, it would have been a perfect shot. And even then, he finds the kill on a Blame F. His teammates are actually able to convert the round off of that entry, given that Poison is isolated there at ramp, and they're able to overwhelm him. But that's off of Niko's entry ability. Just swings into every single angle perfectly. Like, there's nothing you would want differently out of any of those peaks from Niko. So He's going to be the B lurk on this round. This is a round where JKS gets the better of him, and Niko plays a pretty strong angle. He has the right eye peek. He's pretty far from the angle, but actually because this is the angle that he has to worry about in terms of distance, you'll see that JKS swings in and has just the dominant angle in terms of distance. So right here, you can just kind of see this is much farther. Like the angle that he has to work with here is actually farther than what JKS is working with. So you guys will see how that comes back to bite him. And he kind of gets caught sleeping a little bit. So we'll even slow this down just a little bit. Like, I'll do this really slowly so you guys can see how JKS gets the better of him here. And we'll go through their perspectives. So we'll see that right here, pause. Actually, JKS sees him before Niko sees him. So people that say things like you have to take into account both things when you look at these kind of situations. Dominant angle and right eye peek. Because look at this. This is on land, by the way. This is actually on land. Like, there's no way this is like a peeker's advantage kind of thing. This is actually Niko playing too close to this angle. So he gets punished for it. JKS saw him well earlier. There's no way Niko's even able to react to this, and he dies. So think about both things when you're holding angles in your own games, and think about it when you watch games. That right eye is just one part of the equation. Everybody's become so obsessed with that, and it is important when they're pretty much like 50-50 distances, but in that case, and in many cases, the more like important thing is the geometry and how far players are away from the angle that they're contesting between. So once again, he's going to make his way towards lower. He kind of goes through the steps a little bit faster this time. And like, whereas before we saw him just kind of jump spotting a lot with the deagle, he just kind of goes for the single jump spot, goes for the swing. And there's good utility here. With the hinge smoke, he's able to get up towards catwalk, because nobody can see him as he jumps up onto Xbox there, throws a couple flashes. And what do star players do? They get map control on their own. He really wasn't supported by too much in terms of teammates, in terms of personnel. Sure, there was a little bit of utility from his teammate, but, I mean, even though it's just him on cap by himself, he feels confident in taking this position by his lonesome. And now he has great position, and his teammates can go for a really nice ace split off of that. So you see that he just kind of hangs out here. But this is where being a star player might get the best of Niko. Cool bloom, by the way, on where this smoke is right now. You can see how it distorts the air. Didn't really see that before. But look at how this smoke kind of baits Niko in. You'll see that he sees that gap on the side, but this is a common error on Dust 2. I mean, like, different smokes that give you gaps kind of give you different opportunities, but you'll see for Poison's point of view how easy this is for him to see Niko there. Very simple. Very simple. Really nothing to even go over there. Niko just thinks there's an opportunity, but there's not. There simply is not an opportunity right there. And G2 are able to convert off that anyways, but you see that Niko kind of losing out on angles here. When we switch to the CT side, you'll see pretty much pure perfection, but here on the T side, kind of takes a few liberties, takes a few, just goes for a couple, fights here and there that cost him. And now he jump spotted, he saw config. So what does he do? He goes for the flash, forces config off the angle, can now take some space on his own, goes for the hinge smoke once again, which blocks off Poison's point of view so that he can't see anything. And then Niko just kind of holds for a bit of a reaction here. And he does see config at this point. And what's cool from Complexity at this point is that config spotted top mid, knows that there wasn't anybody here from G2. And so what Complexity do is they take another really nice proactive play. They know Niko's down towards lower. So Complexity, they group up towards middle at this point, and they just swarm him. They just swarm him. There's like a peek from Cat, there's a peek from lower. Niko did isolate the duel well, but JKS, he's going to hit the shot sometimes. He was a top 20 player at one point as well. And so that's just a good proactive play from Complexity. Not much to say. Niko does a lot right in that round, and you still want to stay close with the MAC-10. Like if you want to be like 20/20 hindsight in that one, I don't even know what you can really say. Like, sure, he got some space there, but is he going to expect a reaction from Complexity to push through the mid doors? Not really, because people don't really do that all too often. That's just a good play from Complexity, and that's something that you need to factor into your analysis. If you guys are any aspiring analysts out there, that be sure to give credit to the plays of opponents frequently. Don't just like, it's not all about people making mistakes. Counter-Strike is a game of people making great plays and some people making mistakes. It's not all about people making mistakes. So make sure you have a balanced analysis when you guys move forward. Niko, though, goes straight down mid, just decides that Mauisnake is holding his mid, I think, and he's able to take some space once again. So now he's just kind of being a hard lurk on this play. He's a little bit slow, but now that he has info on where JKS is, this is a freebie for him. Goes for the one taps and is able to clean it up. So here we're going to see a pretty quick cat play. We'll watch this one play all the way out because this is, again, Niko, you know, he does his due diligence with that single jump spot there. You know, kind of a lazy clear towards lower, but his team really wants cat at this point, so he goes for the hinge smoke once again, kind of disguising what the play is this time. But because his teammates are moving up cat with him, he's just going to go a little bit quicker. And since Jax has already taken that space with his entry routing, Niko finally has been positioned into cat as well. Notice they don't overuse their nades. Like, Jax used one flash and Niko used one flash. So it makes it still look like Niko is the one that's taking the space by himself. And they even space the flashes out enough that it's kind of hard to tell. But now, I mean, G2, because they took cat so quickly, they just decided to go for it. And this actually, this catches Complexity off guard a little bit. They're not quite ready for this play to be so quick in their faces. And you can see they didn't have the counter utility ready to counter this one. So overall, just a really cool play where G2 just ups the tempo a little bit here. Rush goes for like a jump peek right there, and Niko just obliterates him. He just takes his head off. Nice little crouch swing from Niko to make sure that it's hard on Rush to try to actually find that kill. Even though Niko was a sitting duck for a while, he makes sure that he makes it difficult on his opponent to hit him because he swings out. So a little hunt right here for Niko, but just going to sit in spawn. So this is going to be another quick cat play. G2 realized that Complexity aren't really contesting them for that kind of space. So we'll see that Niko goes for just a flat-out fast play towards catwalk here. Still throws the flash, which does give up what's going on. And Niko doesn't want to contest this because he knows that if they fast cat properly, they can beat him to that corner. That's something that in old versions of Dust 2 might not have been the case, but now it's actually very possible to beat a fast cat. And so what does Niko do? He goes for kind of a 50-50 there. As the smoke fades, he gets the kill onto config, but because the smoke fades, that means he's vulnerable to mid, and that's one of those things where Niko, he's taking a risk. You know, he knows that they probably boosted up towards cat in that round. He wants to take that fight. It's just that that player is already peeking towards middle, and he thought maybe there could be an opening there. Not the case. I mean, there is in the sense that he gets the kill, but he does actually die. But still, actually, Mauisnake is able to clean things up. So good round from Mauisnake as he's able to hold from back plat. And another a great benefit from going for fast cat as quickly as Niko is in these rounds is that you keep Complexity in the dark. The main point of this round is not just that he's taking the space, but look at how Complexity kind of have to play because of that. You have Poison here who is towards catwalk. He's not really sure though, and he still thinks that there's a player that could be catwalk. And because of that, BlameF is not able to like help mid as closely. He's not in a great rotation position, and Config also knows that they could be out towards middle. And look at the positions of Complexity here, but look at what's happening. G2 are towards B. They're already in the bomb site, and JKS is getting swarmed right now. Niko's way in the back, so we don't really need to pay too much attention to him in this round. And the round's over. Config thought that he might have to help out on a mid play or a mid to B because G2 took catwalk so quickly. The round's over. Nothing to look at here as G2 just take it, and that's it. I mean, like, that's the power of taking cat fast. When you take cat on the T side of Dust 2, you put the blinders on for your CT opponents. Like, they don't know what's going on at that point. You keep them in the dark, and that's exactly what Niko does. And because he's willing to take those kinds of risks, he just is making Complexity's job so hard. Their rotations are so difficult. Their positioning is all out of whack. And so that's what star players do. They get the other team out of their comfort zone. Hinge smoke once again. Throws a molly for cat for himself this time. And in case anybody's in front of the molly, he throws that flash for himself. Kind of another mix-up. Like, notice that his utility procedures aren't identical every single time. That's great counter utility from complexity. In terms of those nades, nothing you can do about that. And this time he sees the gap in the smoke and decides, I don't want to wait around for it. I'm just going to go for the fight. And this is just so bold and so explosive. But it is supported by the fact that his teammates have a timing at long. So it's not like he's just doing this and it's unsubstantiated. Like, there's a big reason for it to be happening. And we'll see in this round that they already have it. So Niko, he goes on the hunt a little bit, just kind of checking some common save spots for opponents, and he will catch JKS off guard. So, really cool explosive play. Really cool use of tempo that you know is probably coming from Nexa there. Like, I don't think Nexa actually gets quite enough credit as an IGL because his IGLing in the middle of 2020 was fantastic. Like, so many great mid rounds, so many good like tempo shifts. Like it's kind of like who I would compare him to is actually like Stanislaw in terms of tempo shifts, but it's kind of like tempo shifts in terms of execs more so. It's not like he's calling as many crazy defaults that Stanislaw did and kind of like shifts on the default itself. It's more like he knows when he needs to call a shift in a set piece. Like he does a really good job at that, and he actually does a pretty good job in terms of feeling out mid rounds. I feel like the structure of G2 is kind of hitting a perfect peak right now. For IEM Cologne, and it's why I think on the It's Server Time podcast, if you guys are familiar with that podcast that Mix and Note and I are doing, when we brought Fang along, Mix and I said G2 is our favorite now to win this tournament. We think they're going to win, and like you can just see the way that they're calling is really tip top. I think they had some growing pains for a bit, where they didn't know like what their style was exactly. Like they didn't know like how they should be playing, especially once they started integrating Niko and making Mauisnake the primary offer. But right now it's looking really, really strong. And once again, kind of that same cat play, pretty similar to what they did before, but this time they just put Jax up towards cat, and Niko will just kind of back off completely. And because Mauisnake got that kill into B, they know that complexity are probably backed all the way off. Like, again, this is a pretty good mid round because they should know roughly the positions of some of the complexity players, given that G2 showed that they had cat. So they know that they had to push these players back. When you take cat, like, the options for a CT side once cat is taken are kind of just like, they either have to play close mid, assuming there's going to be a mid to B, or they just have to full on defend the site hits and play towards these sides. Like, it's kind of hard to play too many different styles on Dust 2 CT side, which is probably why some people don't like it that much. That is the weirdest entry ever from Niko. I had to show that. And at this point, they pretty much won the round. So we'll fast forward here. 5v2. But Niko still doesn't do too much here. Lets Jax kind of go for those kills, and then that's pretty much it. But that's the T side for Niko. And you could see the calling from G2 in that one. Just stellar stuff. Great shifts in pacing, great shifts in terms of the types of hits that they wanted to run, and Niko just a total space taker, space creator for the side of G2, taking cat by himself sometimes with a teammate. Like the variety of situations that he is very like valuable in is what makes him a star player. And like you can just see the crosshair placement, excellent, like exceptional, like the best crosshair placement in the world. I think it's safe to say. I don't think there's a like Zywoo and Simple and Device have great crosshair placement, but they're oppers, they're oppers. Like the crosshair placement can be a little bit rough. Like you don't need to be as precise, honestly, when you're opping. Honestly, you just don't. So. Because with rifling, you just have to hit the headshot. With deagling, you have to hit the headshot. Like, I think Zywoo's crosshair placement with the deagle is amazing, but we don't see it enough with the rifle to for me to tell you that it's better than Niko's. Niko's got the best crosshair placement in the world, hands down. This is actually a round where they just go B, and Niko just saves. Like, you see him going long here, but he actually just saves. Like, I'm going to skip that one, as he still has a flawless CT side. This is where he goes 15-0, by the way. And this game ends 16-6. So you guys are going to see him just take over in a lot of these rounds. So round right here, throws some utility for his teammates towards long. You'll see that his smoke lands in the doorway. And G2, they took that early long. They're going to gamble towards middle in this round so that they can try to take some space, actually cat and middle. And Niko here takes a bit of a risk by himself, but that, I mean, can you blame him? Can you blame him? Once you see what happens, you won't think that it's a bad risk at all. Here's 2 players at least towards middle at this point. Obviously, he's not going to assume too much based off of that. Obviously, could still be more players. Even though Poison is making a ton of noise, he kind of feels like maybe that's a bait, and he just finds a perfect timing on Config. So he gets the kill onto him. But Complexity play a bit of a keep away game from Niko in this one. You can see that he throws a great support flash for the corner right there. His players swing off cat, but they just go towards long, and so Niko just goes to hunt that gun that he found towards top mid. He got that kill earlier in the round, and now he kind of hangs out. Like, he's still, you know, potentially looking for something. He doesn't want to just take only a Galil into the next round, and he catches Blame F off guard, who was thinking that maybe Niko's hiding, but Niko's able to get another onto Rush. Sorry about speeding up into that one, but he's able to get the AK, get the upgrade, gets 3 kills on the round. So kill countdown, that's 3 kills so far in this half. This is the best round of the tournament for Niko thus far. This one is insane. Smokes across mid, gets fast catted by Hunter. This is the fastest way to do it, by the way. Kind of standing in the middle. And then you'll see Nexa boosts him. And this is normally, by the way, a boost for an Opper, because they peek into lower, and this is a very, very tough shot. This is something that only someone who I would claim is one of the best riflers in the world could pull off, because he goes for timing peaks towards lower, and his crosshair placement is if someone crouch swings out. He hears Blame F now, and he knows that there's a player that might back up into lower, but the shadow advantage gives him a kill on a config. Flashes towards middle because he knows that they're actually out now. Swings to get the correction onto Rush. Transfers to the headshot onto Poison, and then is able to spin around for Blame F. There's just just perfect aim in that situation. It's just unbelievable what he did there. Like, just go rewind that. Just rewind that. Like, I can't even break it down fast enough with how quickly he's making those adjustments. And then he even has the gall to not reload his gun and go for the taps on the player coming from T-spawn. Like, what is that? Like, what? Like, honestly, what is that? And Hunter, that's a little bit of BM, just, you know, a little bit of a spacebar enter to not tell Rush, but then he does tell Rush what the HP was. Just an unbelievable round from Niko there. And I think when you think about the best riflers in the world, I think the only 2 players you can put in that conversation for me are Electronic and Niko, and Robs, really. But, like, they're just so different in the way that they all 3 of them play, which makes Counter-Strike just such an exciting game. You know, they don't have the same style at all, even though they're 3 incredible riflers. Just unreal. Unreal. Like, still gushing over it. But let's just move into this one. He doesn't get very involved in this round. I'm pretty sure this is a B hit from Complexity. Throws some good utility to slow something down. And notice he rotates over to go for the palm tree flash. This is just super standard. If people come up from catwalk, this is just a left right click throw. Kind of lands in the leaves, so it's very difficult to see. And yeah, they will go for a mid to B. He gets boosted so that he can see over these smokes, but his teammates are able to clean up by that point. So in round 20, you'll see a very standard long hold for Niko. He will once again go to the car to throw the smoke into the door. A little bit late on it, but then he also throws a flash, and then him and his teammate want to commit there, and Nex is able to, you know, actually reap the rewards because of the flash from Niko. Kind of the spacing from Complexity is off, and then Niko just goes for some spam there. Hunter's getting really aggressive towards middle. That's a little uncalled for, and Niko's probably like, cousin, why are you doing that? But, you know, either way, they're on pistols, so Niko just goes for a push. Round 21, nice mix-up here from G2 where they send Niko towards B because Complexity has been having a pretty hard time towards A, so they think that, you know, it's probably going to be a B hit, and you can't, like, but what's cool about this from G2 is they get proactive immediately. They just throw a flash into tunnels. Hunter and Jax just push into tons. Niko still holds the mid to B briefly in case anybody lurks out. But he throws the smoke because Complexity have made it abundantly clear that they are crossing. Obviously, the smoke is bad. This is not some accident. I'm pretty sure he was trying to get this to cover his doors. But he almost tags them crossing. If he had not messed up the smoke, he probably actually could have turned a little bit earlier. But here's a support flash where he's going to try to set up Nexa here. But it's just a little late, and so Niko can't help him out. But still kind of thinking about how he wants to use his utility. Like, he's kind of struggling here a little bit, but you see that this molly just lands right onto the site. Could have stopped the plant, but just a little late. Like, his decision-making there was good, but just a little bit slow. So a little bit of a waste on the Molotov there as they're able to back off. And nobody was even able to catch a player rotating off from that Molotov. But just, it doesn't matter. You know, excellent crosshair placement. As Niko is able to swing out, they think that Goose is clear. And look at just how honed in he is onto JKS's position. Like, look at this. Oh, God. It's like... Oh, God, he just knows. Like, he just knows. And as soon as JKS peeks out, there's just no chance. And they don't have a smoke for this, but Jax is just going to cover him. Niko's going to put full trust into his teammate, and he had to do it, really. He really had to go for that and hope that Blame F just doesn't peek in time. So he's able to steal that one away. And this is going to be one of the standard rounds from G2. This is like a really standard round where what happens when you lose long control. This is just an overall great lesson to close the game out because this is the last round. They don't get long control. A lot of flashes, a lot of nades their way. They know that Complexity have it. So what do? They go to take Cat. And because if you are a CT on A, you need to either have Cat control or you need to have long control. If you have neither, you have no chance of really winning the round if your opponents do a great job in terms of their execute towards either space. So after losing long, Mauisnake and Niko, they take position towards Cat. You know, Nexus trying to double dip a little bit, looking for a cheeky kill right there. And Niko, because he gets pushed off the angle, throws a nade into the ramp position and really just navigates the smokes perfectly. Like, I'll show you guys this at full speed, but just appreciate how he's able to read the execute perfectly to just find every kill in this situation. Runs through the smoke right there, doesn't overcommit, doesn't wide swing it, you know, and then he's able to catch off Blame F and Poison, pulls out the USP to get the kill on a config. Let's look at Niko's stats, though, here. 100 ADR, 11 utility damage, not a lot, but 18 enemies flash. Good flashes on the T side a little bit for long control, for Cat control, and on CT, just some support ones to make sure that they take long as well. Great game from Niko. 3.0 KD, like unbelievable, 27-9, and that was a 15-0 CT side. So let's go back into the scenes here on the HLTV page as we wrap this one up. Thanks again for joining, guys. Be sure if you enjoyed this to like, subscribe, and comment about who you want to see. You know, get some more comments on here. Help the YouTube algorithm out. You know, don't just say algorithm either. Tell me who you actually want to see. If you guys thought that you're better than Niko, tell me you're better than Niko. If you guys hate the sound of my voice, tell me you hate the sound of my voice. But why are you watching at this point if you hate the sound of my voice? But either way, just crazy stuff. Let's look at the detailed stats on Dust 2 here. Niko, most kills. Hunter actually had the most damage, but Niko with the most first kills with 6, 1.99 rating, and flash assists, 2 flash assists. Good job, Niko. Give yourself a pat on the back. You helped out your teammates, 15 headshots. He had more headshots than almost anybody on Complexity had kills in this game, which is something you just wouldn't really expect. When there's a lot of great players on Complexity. So here we go. Ratings here. 2.58 impact rating. Impact rating isn't everything. I still think it's kind of a weird stat sometimes. But either way, like impact. Just crazy impact. Like, it values like multi-frags and clutches and first kills a lot more. But either way, crazy stuff from Niko. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm actually going to an event tomorrow. I'm going to upload this right now, even though it's a little late. It's a little past the prime time, but we got to get this out here. Cologne's going to start back up. We want to see how Niko performs so well. So thanks for joining, guys. Once again, just write who you guys want to see in the comments. I'll take some of the popular players, maybe get through some of those. But thanks for joining me, because once again, as always, guys, what is it? What's the outro? Yeah, that's right. Being toxic is a choice.